Good evening and welcome to Sporlitiks, where sports and politics mix and mingle. I'm Stacey Johnson. Joining me tonight is Aguna, the Nigerian moderate Republican, Keith, the constitutional conservative, Stephen, the independent thinker, and my cousin Todd. Whenever I say that, I just look at Aguna, and it's just so funny when I say my cousin Todd. Aguna just has this look on his face. Anyway, tonight, 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 President Biden, we're waiting for him to give a live press conference, and hopefully he'll talk about his meeting today with Chinese President Xi in San Francisco. The WWE shows up in the United States Senate when a GOP senator challenges Teamsters head to a fight in a fiery exchange at a hearing. Election results: Ohio voters approve abortion protections. Kentucky reelects Democrats, and Democrats flip control of the state house and retain control of the Senate in Virginia. Sharon Moore guides Michigan through an emotional 24 hours as Michigan's Harbaugh, and I'm talking about college football, is suspended from coaching at actual games. How's your college football team doing, and how's Deion Sanders doing? And NFL, do you remember them? We'll talk about what's going on with the Eagles and the Washington Commanders. This key U.S. inflation gauge fell last month by the most since 2020. Texas legislators approve a bill allowing police to arrest people who cross the border illegally and more if we can fit it in. First up, Stephen, do you want to talk about Jim Harbaugh being suspended and unable to attend the last few games of the regular college football season?
Yeah, it's he got about a slap on the wrist, pretty much. It's not that big a deal. Somebody from his side went over and stole some signs from the other team. But the thing about it is, people change their signs all the time, and people try to steal signs all the time. It's just something, but they have to do something. You have to make an example. You have to do something. But if he can coach his guys during the week, but he just can't be there for the game, it does hinder them a little bit, but it's still okay. And he can be full-time when the playoffs start. If it was something really egregious, he wouldn't be out there at all. Right? He would just be gone. They would just sit him down. You can't come nowhere near. We're going to get you're going to get arrested if you come around there for trespassing, or we're going to get some kind of warrant against you. But no, it's not that big a deal. It's something that happened, and maybe he made the wrong person mad. He didn't go along with some program, so they have to make an example out of him for doing things that everybody does. Everybody tries to get an edge. I don't care what the sport is. Everybody's trying to get an edge in some way, somehow. And they jumped on him, or they had the evidence, so they got him. And we'll forget about it in a couple of weeks.
All right. Anybody want to talk about Deion Sanders?
No, I want
and how they ended up.
I want to comment on what he just said.
Oh my gosh!
Gives excuses. Oh well, everybody does it. What does that? You can't just use that line. Everybody does it. So what?
I'm not saying it's right.
You get an edge some kind of how.
Everybody does steroids. Performance enhancing, everything. Everybody tries to get an edge doing something. That's just sports.
Yeah,
that's right.
Even you, Todd, when you use that beard oil, whatever you use for that beard.
Yeah, that's performance enhancement. That's performance enhancement. It helps you talk more.
His hair will be
intelligently.
Anyway,
Todd is always distracting us from sports because he knows
but you know they're going to make a example out of Harbaugh. He's very high profile. Got one of the top teams in the country. You got to be a little squeaky clean when you're dealing with that type of exposure. So yeah, I think it does happen more often than not, but that doesn't mean it's right. So if you get caught, you got to be held accountable for it.
Right.
All right.
Sure.
College football, Aguna, anything about Deion Sanders?
No, I know. Again, this is his first year. People forget this is his first year.
Well, his
They're
first
going
year
to
in
turn this.
Colorado. It is not his first year coaching college football.
Or
That is
It's his
Colorado. That's
first
the
year at
point.
Colorado.
That's the point, right? So first at that level, Colorado, they only won one game last year, so it's not like he's gonna his first year get to a national title game. Now after this year, expectations are going to be high. Again, he's down like 4 or 5 wins, so yeah. I mean, the Pac-12 is a tough conference. You got some heavy hitters in that conference. You got some seasoned coaches in that conference. So you just gotta, again, Deion is still far exceeded expectations as far as where he is so far. So there's only I think now there is something to be said about his coaching style. I know he was ripping some of the players in the press conferences and things like that. I mean, again, he's been a motivational type person for a while, so he's only human too, and this is his first time year coaching at this level, so we'll see. But the national media loves a good news story, so they latched onto him fairly quickly, and I think that also exacerbated some of the situations he was in as far as coaching. So again, he's accomplished a lot. So I don't think it's a failure by any means.
Okay, so look at this story. Chip Kelly. Can you see? I'm sharing the screen. Can you see it? Let me show you. Chip Kelly mentions this story was written by Yahoo Sports 4 hours ago. Chip Kelly, UCLA coach Chip Kelly echoed Colorado coach Deion Sanders' call for leniency after Beaumont High students were accused of stealing jewelry and other items from the Buffalo's locker room during a game at the Rose Bowl. He said they make a mistake. Let them serve the punishment, then they can move on. You see Wednesday regarding 4 Beaumont High students suspected of stealing jewelry and other items from Colorado's locker room late last month at the Rose Bowl during a game between the Buffaloes and the Bruins. I was going to get Cousin Todd to comment on that because he always wants to comment on things like that, but let me have Stephen and then Aguna and then Keith comment on what Chip Kelly said.
Oh no, I don't know anything about what Chip Kelly said. I'll let somebody else go first. Sorry about that, Stacy.
What did he say? What did he say?
He said leniency.
I was distracted.
It's right on the screen.
All right, go. Just ask me again.
So, the message from Chip Kelly, UCLA coach, on Wednesday, today, regarding 4 Beaumont High students suspected of stealing jewelry and other items from Colorado's locker room late last month at the Rose Bowl during a game between the Buffaloes and the Bruins.
Mm-hmm.
He said they made a mistake. Let them serve the punishment, then they can move on. So he's saying don't ruin their lives and stop them from doing anything that would be positive in their lives. Just let them serve a punishment for stealing.
Well, what's the punishment?
Yeah.
What
do we know the punishment yet, or that's an unknown? Whatever the punishment is, I think they should serve the punishment and then move on with their lives and not get ruined by something. If they've been clean up until this point, if they've done something, I don't know what would motivate them to steal something. Whatever punishment it is, I mean, put them in jail for 5 years. I don't care. That might ruin them, but
if it's less
well,
than
it says right here. I don't know what the jewelry amount was, but it says right here that I think any mistake at that age, I think it's a very valuable lesson for them to learn. But I don't think I'm in 100% agreement with Colorado coach Deion Sanders that this shouldn't ruin their lives. You got to let the judicial system take its course. So
the judicial system might ruin their lives for doing this. It's not. Yeah, just let the courts do what they're going to do. If these people are guilty and they've done something heinous, and that happens to ruin their lives, then that's a life lesson, and everybody's got to learn that. You have to know at a certain point, if you do something really heinous, really awful, really bad, you might ruin your life, and this is what happens. So
okay,
they got to kind of take what happens.
If you see it, it says yesterday, Sanders called for leniency regarding those accused of stealing jewelry, headphones, and cash from his team's locker room. The Times report that some items had been returned by mail to the team and others were seized during the Pasadena Police Department searches involving the students. Aguna?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely has to be some accountability here, to that point of ruining lives. I mean, again, I don't think they should be in jail for like 10 to 15 years by any means, but I do think that they need to do some community service, probably have to show some type of, remorse for these actions. Again, you don't want to just do a slap on the wrist and think that they can get away with it. They have to be accountable for the decisions they made, but at the same time, the punishment should fit the crime in the sense of, you don't want to lock them up in gin pop for, X amount of days. Let them do some community service. Let them come back and serve society in a positive way and then learn something from it and move forward. So
right. Yeah.
I think that they deserve to be punished, though. There needs to be some accountability here.
Right.
Speaking of moving forward, Stephen, do you want to talk about your Washington Commanders?
Oh,
you didn't let us get to say anything about that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I thought you did say something, but go ahead.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't say anything.
I'm sorry, Keith. Go ahead.
No, I didn't say anything. I was just trying to say that, in Los Angeles, is it Los Angeles or California? Well, basically, there is a $900. I think it's around $900. If it's 900 or less, and they only spend up to 6 months in county jail, and that's it, if anything. So that's the new law. So you can steal up to about 900 in merchandise, and it's a misdemeanor. There you go.
Yeah, but that needs to be changed. That needs to be changed right away because the stores are not going to stay around. I know you didn't. Of course not. But the stores are not going to stay around, and everybody's going to get hurt if they don't start doing something about
insurance. That's what insurance is for.
No, you just can't have this rampant crime. And Aguna's just playing. We appreciate that, but maybe somebody listening doesn't know you're playing, Aguna.
Well, Aguna, I'm sure if they came to your house and tried to steal $900 worth of stuff, you wouldn't just let them walk away, would you?
I got insurance though, but
again, get out of town.
You're talking about? Are you saying stores, or are you talking about people's private residence?
Well, it said no
residence. I have the right to defend my property, so it doesn't.
Well,
there's no.
Not according to Los Angeles, not according to LA, or
you can't.
That's why I don't live there. That's why I choose to live in the Commonwealth of Virginia. So,
but do you live in a? I don't know.
Okay, nothing personal. Let's move on. NFL, Stephen, you were talking about your Washington Commanders.
I can't call them my Washington Commanders because I'm a lifelong Redskin fan.
Can we
what about Todd?
Can we go back?
I didn't get to say anything.
No.
This thing about stealing.
You know what I mean?
You
I'd rather people steal than shoot.
Todd. You can't come and go.
I'd
rather people
from the beginning.
And 6 months is a long time in jail, by the way. So
yeah, it is.
Not like
I wanted to hear from Todd.
Dropping the bucket. 6 months.
I'm sure you do. Go ahead, Todd. You're holding up and trying to hide yourself. Go ahead.
No, I won't. No. Keep going. Keep going.
Man. Are you cold, Todd? Are you cold?
Oh my God,
man!
I have no comment.
Indoors. Is that a full Windsor or a half Windsor knot? You got the scarf turned.
We need to get him he needs a weighted blanket.
You all need to get some fashion sense and get out off of me.
Okay, thank you. Stephen, you see the screen, you're showing the NFC East standings with the Eagles at number 1, the Cowboys, Commanders, and the Giants following. Stephen, you want to talk about your Commanders?
Yeah, just when you think they got a good game coming up, and I do a survivor pool, and the only team I really have left that can help me this week is the so-called Commanders, the football team, the Redskins, the Boston Red Sox, whatever you want to call them. But they're my only team. But you know what? They can't beat the Giants. They can't beat the Giants. And if they could beat the Giants and maybe take Dallas game at home, maybe take another game at home, they could win or whatever. And maybe they could just squeeze their way into the playoffs at this point. But it doesn't look like it's going to happen. I don't even know. They're a 10-point favorite against the Giants. And I have no faith that they can beat them. right now at all. None at all, because they cannot beat the Giants. They never beat the Giants. With whoever the quarterback is, they got a quarterback now. He was an accountant a week and a half ago. He's never touched a football in his life. He didn't even know it was a pigskin. This is a guy for the Giants quarterback. He's Danny DeVito's grandson, I think. His name's DeVito. I'm sure they're probably have a relationship somewhere. But this is the guy, the quarterback, and the damn football team, Redskins, Commanders, cannot beat this team right now. I don't even think they can. I'm going to take the Giants. I'm going to lay the points, and I hope we can win, and maybe something will come from it. But I don't think we're going to make the playoffs, and we're going to lose our entire coaching staff, which may be a good thing.
It may be. Aguna.
It's going to be interesting. The Eagles had a bye week, which was much needed. They got quite a few players, including Dallas Goedert, who is on IR. Nakobe Dean's nicked up. He may be done for the year, as a matter of fact. So it's good to get healthy, and they're going up against.
How are they going to get healthy in a week?
Well, again, I mean, it's a gladiator sport, so any rest for the body is good. They play the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday, next Monday, or this Monday coming up, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be tough. That's going to be a tough game. I don't expect them to win that game.
However,
no! I mean, it's possible. It's tough.
He's
what?
Like Mr.
I'm not a Cowboys fan. I'm realistic.
Bah humbug.
What?
I'm realistic. Andy Reid, coming off a bye, has one of the best records in the NFL. Now, can they win? Yes, it's a possibility. But the likelihood of them winning in Kansas on the road, high-profile game Monday night, we'll have to see.
Who has a better team this year? Have you watched Kansas City every game like I have? Have you seen every Philadelphia game? Who has the better team? There is no way Philadelphia should lose that game to Kansas City. I don't care who the coaches are. I don't care who the quarterbacks are.
We got a Kelsey Swift. We have a Kelsey Swift combo right in Philadelphia.
Right.
Yeah,
but let's hope it's not.
How ironic is that?
And Stacy, I got a question for you. I wanted to ask you before you leave sports. I wanted to see if you would address the homicide. It's considered a homicide with the hockey player who slashed the throat of another hockey player with his skate. And, I guess it was
we're talking football, Keith. What are you doing?
What did I just say? I said
football, and we're talking Philadelphia Eagles football. What are you? I know you only watch sports ever so often, Keith.
I said before you leave
the time in the segment where we're going to sit here and talk about that.
Let me move on.
I said before you leave sports.
No murder she wrote.
We're talking about football.
Before you leave sports.
Football.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Look who's got the nerve to say that. Todd.
I wanted to check you before you left sports. That's what I said.
He got charged. He got charged with manslaughter. He's been charged with manslaughter.
We're not doing that right now. So shut your pie hole. So now back to football.
Geez.
I think that the Eagles are going to lose to the Dodgers for sure.
Todd, okay. That's it.
Everybody should do that.
Get yourself together. Todd, get yourself together.
Oh, wait. Do that again, Steven.
Yeah, everybody do this. When he does that, go. We should all do that.
That's how. I think right.
Stacey's got it. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. We should all be more like Todd. You should all be more like Todd.
When Todd does it, we do it. That's a trick.
I definitely don't want to be like Todd. All right. Anybody want to talk about the NBA? Oh, look, welcome to Sporlitiks, where sports and politics mix and mingle.
Who is that?
Fontavious. Get it right.
Nods has a new name.
Fontavious. And just for the record, more proof that God hates Philly. Superstar off-season acquisition Kelly Oubre was struck by a car in the city of brotherly love the other day and will miss a lot of games for the Philadelphia 76ers.
Well, first off, for you to say that, Fontavious, it's just showing what a true hater you are to even talk about how someone got hurt and struck by a car. He was. Excuse me, stop talking. He was walking home in downtown Philadelphia. He's an NBA player for the Philadelphia 76ers. And he was walking home and he got hit by a car. And you bring that up like it's good news.
Oh,
That's
no. I just said it's
Montavious.
proof that God hates Philly. Like, look, this is a
Look,
very
man.
tall gentleman. How do you hit a 6'8" person with very long hair? Like, how do you run him over in the city of Philadelphia? I'm just,
You're right. He's going to miss some time. He's
Yeah,
probably,
he is.
again, what are the
Again,
Sixers?
looks
What's the
better.
Sixers record? What's the Sixers record?
I'm not
Do you
sure.
know?
I
They're going to make the
think
World Series.
it's
I
okay.
think-
They've been doing pretty good.
You look much better now.
It's
Now,
insane.
and Keith is about to cop. I knew Steve was going to do something weird. You look much better, Aguna.
I appreciate that, Todd. I tried. I'm
Yeah.
trying.
I
I'm
know.
trying.
Anything else with the NBA? I don't know what happened to Keith. Anything else with the
He
NBA?
probably went to go put on some drag.
Yeah. We had a choking last night. The one and only Draymond Green.
Oh, yeah.
I'm assuming he doesn't like
Ooh,
Rudy
he-
Gobert, and he finally
he
found a
looks so much
reason to
better.
choke him. It was one of the great moments in NBA history. The game had not started. It was 0-0. Klay Thompson, who is very sensitive right now about some of the injuries he's had and how some people who he's used to be much better than now don't respect him as much. And he got into a fight before the game started. They just started the clock. He got into a fight. Draymond came in to save him, and he choked Rudy Gobert. Sorry for explaining that terribly, but the choking is the most important part. Y'all need to see the video.
What's the punishment going to be for that?
5 games, 250,000. I'm guessing.
Sometimes you just got to take the charge, right? Right, Keith? Right, Steven? It's worth
Yeah.
taking the charge. Send a point. Send a message.
All right.
Well, if it's worth it. Yeah.
Thank you. Anything else with the NHL? I mean, the NFL, Fontavious?
No, it's just everybody keeps getting hurt. I guess Cleveland's season's over. Their quarterback is out. Like the NFL is a meat grinder, man. This is worse than any other season I can think of where
Me too.
frontline guys are getting hurt. So it's just
Yep.
A lot of injuries, and the fact is a 17-week season is going to be even more, right? So you're going to have a lot, and this is the sweet spot in the season once you get into late November, where if you get injured and you're out for a game, you're pretty much done for the year. So it's a game of attrition. I don't know. Cleveland just had that big win, and so it's going to be tough for them to deal with a quarterback situation going into the final stretch of the year. Well,
Hey, they're going with the rookie. You heard they're going with the rookie now?
yeah.
Oh
Not a
man.
good situation to be in. Even though Cleveland has a very good defense, again, it comes down to injuries. You got the 4-man race in the NFC with the Eagles, Cowboys, 49ers, and Detroit. And then the AFC, you just got a huge field of Miami, Kansas City. I mean, Jacksonville was in there before they lost. So there's a lot of teams that you got to look at in the AFC that may, Buffalo, for God's sake, is not in the playoff hunt right now at 5-5. They just had an epic collapse against Russell Wilson in Denver on Monday night. So nothing's guaranteed. You got 8 games left. We'll see what happens. And
Well,
like
Aguna, if you were
says-
Cleveland, would you play PJ or would you play that rookie that has no experience? Would you play him or would you play PJ who just kind of sucks?
it doesn't matter.
Oh man, it's a bad situation because the AFC North is so competitive right now because you got everybody, even Cincinnati's not completely out of it, right? And they got,
No, because Cincinnati's a contender. They just had a bad game. You can't count them out.
right.
Right.
So
And
you all
Pittsburgh
look
ain't bad.
strange
Pittsburgh's
trying to
not
look like
bad.
Cousin Todd. You all look strange trying to look like Cousin Todd.
I see why he's so
No,
relaxed.
Steven looks better.
Thank you,
I
Todd.
do. The less you see of me, the better.
We're like the
Surprise!
Black
Before we
Panthers or
leave-
something.
Surprise!
Oh, that's Todd's line. Surprise.
No, ma'am.
Oh, no, that's Todd. That's signature Todd.
All
No,
right.
ma'am.
So I want to go over this before we leave sports. Our hearts and prayers go out to the family of the hockey player that was killed Keith, you were talking about that. The death of a player from a skate to the neck reignites the hockey stubborn debate over protective gear. This happened about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
NHL player Brian Johnson,
Yeah.
Adam Johnson, I'm sorry, killed with that skate. That is horrible, and I mean horrible.
Yeah.
No,
Just horrible.
I have to say that I don't know how his leg got up there to the neck. I really don't. I mean, I see when I looked at the play, I said, yeah, that's a little bit. I mean, but I'm not saying he intentionally did, but that's not a very good move. Let's put it that way. That's not a hockey move. Typical
Well,
hockey move.
anything can happen. Anything can happen. Even when you see people fall on the NFL, sometimes they fall a certain way and their knee or their ankle or their leg twists in a way that you didn't ever think it would twist as they fall and as they go down. So those type of things could happen.
Yeah, but
and you're on ice, but you're on ice, so it's a little bit more slippery. So you're moving a little faster and your legs can go anywhere.
Just to
we can see how dangerous it is because
No,
the skates are made with a blade. They have a blade.
He may have tried to block him with his leg, do it like a kick. Maybe he forgot he had a skate on. I don't know. I've never seen anybody, like he said, I've never seen him lift their leg up like that. And this guy's got a kind of a bad reputation. He's kind of a hothead, goes after people, wants tries to hurt people. I don't know. I can't, and I don't think he really tried to put his foot up in somebody and cut their throat or kill them. But I think he's a little bit too exuberant. He got a little bit something going on. And they charged him with manslaughter. So maybe he'll get more charges.
They're going to talk about an interest in neck guards. The question is, how many hockey players are really going to take the time to put those neck guards on?
They need to. They need to wear them, just like the Marines. That's why they call leather necks back from the 100 years ago. You put leather around your neck. You put a neck guard around you because something can happen.
All they need is scarves. They only need scarves. Like
if it's as thick as Todd's, they'll never cut their throat.
This is cashmere. What is yours, Aguna?
Here we go.
It is Egyptian cotton.
Oh, you can't beat that.
Egyptian cotton made in China.
All right, let's move
is cashmere. On. What is yours?
Cashmere.
I'm just wondering what yours is.
Cashmere. Dang. You didn't wait till after the Macy's sale, after Christmas.
No.
You got that for at least 20% off. And if you use your Macy's card.
Okay.
All right, we're not doing anything for Macy's. Let's talk about Cousin Todd. Start off with the U.S. Election results. And what happened and what you want to talk about with that.
Jeez, Todd, how do you do this, Todd? This is hot, man. Breathe a little.
Well, I'm not fat. I'm
no.
You're not fat. Oh, wow. Okay.
Wow, he's fat shaming you.
I know, body shame.
Wow.
Anyway, I'm just saying people who are overweight, they get hot.
Wow.
I'm not overweight.
I wouldn't know about that, Todd.
Oh, okay. So anyway, the Democrats won everything because Republicans are stuck on stupid, wanting to control women's bodies. And it just doesn't work.
No.
This is not 1950. And so the women got smart and said, we're going to vote them out and vote in people who respect our bodies and believe that we're intelligent enough to make our own decisions. And that's right.
Now, we already talked about this, though. But you wanted to talk about it. Was it something a little bit special that you wanted to say, or you just want to reiterate?
No.
Reiterate.
You thought I wanted to talk about this topic in particular, but no. I'm just telling you that the Democrats won because of the abortion debate.
Damn right. Kill that baby.
Kill
that baby.
And I don't know when
the
Republicans
Todd has is
kill that baby.
That's the only exception. That's when you can control the body.
Kill baby.
Only
I don't know. I don't know when the Republicans are going to wake
The
up.
women should
I'm
not have the
hoping-
right to
I'm
kill
hoping-
another human being.
I'm
If you say
hoping they
women have the
never
right to
wake
kill
up.
another human being, you better watch out, Todd.
I'm hoping they never wake up, because this is exactly what America needs. People like these two.
Yeah, I mean,
Another Margaret Sanger.
You can't get a sensible debate around the topic because
Another
All right.
Margaret Sanger.
You're gonna kill it.
Margaret
You're gonna.
Sanger,
It's killing babies.
Another Margaret Sanger.
that's not necessarily the case in all abortions.
Oh yeah.
When you-
Margaret
No,
Sanger.
some babies
Stephen-
live and then they kill them
No,
afterwards.
no.
Okay, well,
Some
Stephen-
fetuses aren't viable and they
Margaret
have to be
Sanger.
aborted. And
Yeah,
Some
Margaret
people,
Sanger.
some people aren't
One at a
viable.
time, please. All right.
Todd,
I gotta
you want to
move
speak
on.
up?
Dan, you're.
No,
I
I don't
think-
want Todd to speak
I
up.
think
Well,
most
I just wanted
Americans.
to ask Stephen if he
Don't ask
masturbates
Stephen
and is
anything.
killing babies.
Another Margaret Sanger.
I live rent free in your head, don't I, Todd?
Margaret
wanna-
I gotta
Uh,
stop
so
dressing. I gotta stop
debate.
dressing so
If you
And
look
snazzy.
her up,
that
You're worrying
killing-
about what I think about when I masturbate.
Is that killing
Google
babies?
Margaret Sanger. Google Margaret Sanger.
Moving on.
doesn't-
You
Yeah,
guys
Yeah.
got
it's
it.
just
He's saying
proves
Margaret
that-
Sanger, Margaret
and
Sanger, Margaret
again,
Sanger.
if
Yep.
the Republicans are catering to the far right, where you can't even have a conscious talk
A
about
conscious
privacy.
conversation is you're killing another
No,
human
you're
being.
not. And
You're
keep
yes,
saying
you
that.
are.
The more
Yes,
you
you
say
are.
that, the
You're
more
killing a
justifying
human
why people
being.
aren't on your. That's exactly. You're not.
Okay,
You're not
excuse
giving
me.
women the opportunity on a
To
case
kill
like
a
this,
human
it's a
being.
private matter. It's
We
a
need
private
no. It's
matter.
it's not a private matter to kill a human being. It's against the law.
So
Okay.
define human being. So if
It's
you're saying
against
human
the law.
being
It's
at
against
conception,
God's law to
are
kill
you
a human
saying
being.
a human is at
God
conception?
says, "Thou shalt not murder." Look, you can kill.
See,
I can kill
you're not
somebody who
engaging
wants
in a
to kill me,
conversation. You're just
but I
trying to
can't
push
murder
your limit.
somebody who's innocent. You
So
can. That's
when
murder.
is a fetus viable? At
Okay,
what point is
excuse
a
me.
fetus
Please
viable,
stop.
Stephen?
Don't ask him anything. You're wasting time. Please don't ask him anything. We're going to move on.
The
In the
debate,
Senate, you
Stacey.
see
So you
Mark
have people
Twain
yelling
Mullen.
about killing babies, but they have no context of what they're talking about. So
I
it's
did,
important
but
Okay,
I
but
did.
for our listeners to
we gotta
even
move
But I
on.
did. I do
because
have
it doesn't have
context.
Mark Twain-
rationale around it. I just want to
Excuse me,
educate
Mark
the debate.
Twain-
That's all I want, and you can't
Well,
do that.
I want to debate. It's very early. It's before 15 weeks. It's when it's conception.
Can y'all
When is it?
respect the host so she can carry on with the show?
Yeah, I mean, they just won't quit. So I got to put him on mute. Mark Wayne Mullen called out the head of the Teamsters and wanted to fight in the U.S. Senate. I think that's he said he's not ashamed of his challenge to fight the union boss. And he said, if you look at this on the screen, it says, if you challenge an Oklahoman, you better be ready to back it up by popular demand.
I love it.
Keith, Mark Wayne Mullen, what was his point? How can you get anything done in the Senate when you want to fight someone who's testifying?
That is so trashy.
Well, his point was that
typical.
union boss, that union fella, was challenging him, was calling him out. So he just answered the call. That's all. And I thought it was a very manly thing to do, even though I know a lot
Listen
of
at
people
how
on this
ignorant
show
he is. We're
who
talking
are
about
wimpy, who are
you're
weak-minded,
talking
probably
about
would not agree with it.
senators.
So he called him out, and all he said was, "Hey, I'm ready to get,
He
let's do
called
it."
him out.
And
this is what you're supposed to do in the chambers.
This is not something new. Back in the 1800s, Sumner, I think he was almost killed.
We're not in the 1800s. We're not
Well,
in the
that's
1800s.
all right.
We
I'm
don't
just
have
saying
horse and
that
buggies
is the
and things like that either.
nature of men. The nature of
The
men.
nature.
If you
Oh my
can't
gosh,
control
you
your
are
nature,
sick.
and I think he did
has
a pretty
nothing
good
to
job
do-
of controlling himself. Let me just say these last words. He did a good job of controlling himself. All he did was stand up and he said, "We can get down right here." And yet he didn't do it. He could have walked
So
down
why
there
do
or
it?
run
Why
down
why
there and
even
jack
stand
him
up then? If you're not going to do anything,
there.
why even pretend like you're going to do something?
That's
Well,
just
So let
The
me
whole point
see if
was
I
he
can
still
play
was
this.
trash.
He's still controlled.
Let me
So he did
let me
all
see
right.
if I can
He's
play
a
this.
white
an
boy, so
embarrassment.
Keith is in love with him.
It's
Let me see
embarrassing.
if I can play this.
Wasn't embarrassing to me.
And these
Of
Senate
course
thought it was
not.
awesome.
You have a very low standard.
Excuse
Well,
me.
thank you, sir.
times.
Thank you.
Sir, this is a time, this is a place. You want to run your mouth. We can be two consenting adults. We can finish it here. Okay, that's fine.
That's right.
He called
Put it
him
down.
out.
I'd love to do it
Idiot.
right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on.
Big guy.
Oh, stop it.
Is that your
All right,
There you
solution?
go.
Paul.
See? You stand your butt up. Yep.
Now, he's selective in his memory.
Stop talking to it.
No sound. It's over.
Okay.
Okay, it
tell
was
that.
over when
Now
I
you'll
talked.
have your time, Cousin Todd. Go ahead.
Oh my gosh, this show is going downhill fast.
Oh, that's cold.
Yeah,
Um,
let Todd speak. He should save it. Come on, Todd, save it. It's up to you, brother.
This is how ignorant Keith is. He first lied and said he called him out. No, you had that the wrong way around,
No,
typically.
you only heard that part.
But you're a Trump supporter.
That's all you
And
heard.
so, oh gosh. So anyway, he called him out, which is typically
On
a
he
Trump
did it
thing
on
to do.
Twitter.
And this is what America has come to. No intelligence, no civility, just ignorant barbarians. Oh, they're manly. You sound like an idiot. You're an embarrassment.
Okay, thank
I
you.
have no words for him.
So, Fontavious.
And the world is watching. I just wanted to mention the world is watching these idiots, and they're saying one
Fontavious.
thing: ignorant, poor white trash.
All right, Fontavious.
Yeah, well, for one, like this is like fake tough guy stuff. Like for one, if you really wanted to do that, you could have gotten the DMs with him and met him at any point in time instead of waiting until you were in a government building to attempt to act like you were going to do something. The old hold me back NBA fight tactic. I was going to really do something to you if it wasn't for this 86-year-old man Bernie Sanders stopping me. Get out of here with that fake tough guy stuff. And then
Though I think he's an MMA fighter.
Yeah, I'm sure
Retired.
he is the lowest of low-level MMA fighters. Now he's a nepo baby who says he started a plumbing business and made all this money. But anyway, a dude who runs the Teamsters, he can fight. Okay, like you don't get to the head of something like that without having a little bit of oomph to you. They judge you by your handshake before you open your mouth when you start talking about the Teamsters and stuff like that.
Right.
So, dude talking about he wanted smoke, I don't think he really wanted it, which is why Bernie Sanders' old ass was able to stop him from doing whatever he wanted to do. But, dude, you got a high position, and you're kind of wasting the people's time sitting up here having a little Twitter beef with somebody in public when we're there to really discuss matters that, have some kind of
American people, yes.
Stephen?
But
I agree with parts of what everybody has said so far. But what we need to do is think about this in a way that could be prosperous for people, like for charity, something that needs to be done, that we can all agree that the money needs to go to. Let these guys fight. Let them fight in a cage, maybe if one has poor health, maybe somebody can jump in there for them who's a better person or whatever. But it is silly. It really is silly for people to be like, stand your butt up, get your butt up, stand your butt up. And it's silly. It's silly when we're trying to be civil, trying to get things done. Of course you can get mad, but to do their old thing was, it's way too silly. We need more serious people.
All right, Aguna.
Elon Musk versus Zuckerberg.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, I think this is where
too. Yeah.
This is where American politics have gotten us, right? So it's all about the cameras, the fundraising. So I got to do some shock values to kind of get attention and like get my supporters behind me. And so again, it's no place for it in politics right now. I mean, you should have serious debate around the issue if they're, everything one for that. And I think Nas said, if you really want to fight this guy, I mean, why would you wait till you're in front of the cameras to do it?
Right.
It wouldn't be, why would you wait for someone to hold you back? So, yeah, I mean, again, it's just playing for the cheap seats, playing for the media, playing for the fundraisers, probably going to be on a T-shirt somewhere getting sold for $50. It's
just dumb. It's just silly. It's just kind of silly. Let them fight them. Whatever, man. It's just stupid.
I want to also talk about inflation. This key, let me share my screen. This key U.S. inflation gauge fell last month by the most since 2020. So I'm going to go to my experts in finance, Aguna and Fontavious. This article was published today, November 15th, published 8:37 a.m. U.S. wholesale inflation cooled off in October, reversing a 3-month trend that had seen the cost of energy push up prices. Now the cost of energy is lower. The producer price index. This is the gauge they're talking about. The producer price index, which measures the average price changes that businesses pay to suppliers, fell 0.05% on a monthly basis. It's the largest monthly drop since April 2020, when the rapidly spreading COVID-19 virus caused a sharp economic contraction. Does that, Aguna, talk to what President Biden has been doing with the moves he's been making economically?
Well, I mean, so a little bit in the sense of you saw what happened during COVID, in which the supply chain was massively disrupted. In addition to that, there were a lot of policies from the previous administration of the no China policies, tariffs, and all that stuff. So what you had, it was a complete realignment of global supply chains based on demand, and people started to buy from India. So they had a reshuffling of that, and then disrupted by COVID. And so as suppliers and consumers found different ways of getting goods, you had that whole, COVID-19, and then of course you saw where they tried to stymie off inflation by raising the interest rates. And when the Fed did that, trying to slow down the economy because it was growing so fast, because again, people were still buying a lot of stuff even during the COVID times because of people were home. So we were ordering stuff off of Amazon. So there was a reshifting of how people got goods. And so now this is starting to reset a little bit. And then you're starting to see the uptick of the holiday season. And a lot of the times we talk about energy costs, and people try to say, energy cost is directly correlated to, oil exploration and things like that. No, it's really driven by speculators, right? So they hedge their bet or they short it, and they set the gauge to what those energy costs are. So all that being said, you're seeing that reset happening. And as energy costs go down, people have more money. And so you also see in the housing industry where you have increased home prices as well as increased interest rates, but that's kind of level setting a little bit too. All that being said, is the U.S. economy is the number one economy in the world. It drives everything. And despite the dysfunction happening in Washington, you still see tremendous growth. You still see low unemployment. You still see consumer confidence. People are going on vacations. People are spending money. So it's still a very robust economy, all things considered. And so as you start to move into 2024 and the political scene becomes a little bit more clearer, you're going to start seeing even more growth in the economy, because at the end of the day, the economy grows despite the dysfunction, because people, especially in a capitalist society, will never let silly things stop them or get in the way of them making money. People are always going to try to find ways to make money. Mm-hmm. Companies are going to find ways to make money. They're going to cut costs here and there. But for the most part, there's still a tremendous growth and opportunity out there.
And talk about the gas prices going so low.
So the gas prices, again, we're going to get into another rabbit hole on this show where people actually think there's some type of lull or there's no shortage of gas in the world. Yeah. What there is a shortage of is how OPEC, as well as the U.S. companies, hedge their bets on how they produce, right? So it's one of the few industries in the world where you can actually kind of set your own prices based on the fact that people need the gas, right? And they'll continue to buy it. They may complain about it, but they're not going to stop buying it. All that being said, you're seeing an influx of hybrid vehicles, right? So a lot of people are going to more hybrid cars. And so what happens is OPEC is going to increase production in order to kind of level set or keep their profits stabilized. And again, it's all about production, speculation, and it's not really about supply and demand because there's always going to be a demand there. It's all about speculation and how the
and in the winter, our prices go down anyway. Summers they go up, and this has been
So Todd, let me get Fontavious in. So Fontavious, if you look at the screen, it says October's decline also marks a sharp turnabout from the 0.4% monthly jump in September when food and energy prices raised the cost of goods. Energy prices fell 6.5% in October from the previous month, with gasoline sinking to 15.3%, contributing to a 1.4% drop in goods and inflation. So this is my question, Fontavious. I can't even pronounce your name, sir. One, do you think that Biden's negotiation with Venezuela amid the Israel-Hamas crisis caused the lower price? And two, do you think Biden is doing a good job despite his lower ratings in the poll?
I'll handle number two first. In my opinion, of course not. I'm very critical of both parties, so I'm not a partisan person. So of course I'm not going to say that. As far as the deal with Venezuela, it was a great pivot off of what the Saudis could do to the gas price.
I'm going to challenge you, Fontavious.
We'll
hey, let him talk.
We'll get into it.
Let Octavius
we'll
talk.
Get to it. But it goes into what Aguna was talking about as far as supply chains and everything else. And OPEC, when the Saudis were mad at Biden for entertaining the idea of the Green Deal and talking about opening up the chip factories and also figuring out ways for people to be able to get these batteries for the electric vehicles, the Saudis retaliated and tried to hurt Biden. So he figured out, hey, I'm going to make a deal with Venezuela. And of course, that stabilized things and made it to where it could be better. But then we had the turmoil in the Middle East, which knocked up the price of oil right now, which is why you see a school like Texas A&M fire their coach and are going to pay him $86 million because they're flush with money right now because the price of oil just went up. But going to your previous point, inflation, that's something that the Fed handles. I think you give them more credit than you do any administration. But more than inflation, we were seeing greedflation. And that was the thing that was never addressed by the Biden administration, which is a big reason why I was critical of him, because inflation, of course, was a problem, and the supply chains getting connected again and changing, as Aguna said, that was the big factor. But after that had already been done, companies were still price gouging people. We've got at least 10 industries where they saw record-setting profits this year. So this wasn't a case of just, you were going to pay more per whatever item you were talking about. Ultimately, this was a way for them to kind of scrounge back their COVID losses and make themselves more profitable and bring back a return to their board of directors. So that was the part that the Biden administration didn't address, and that was the part, part of the reason why I'm still critical of that group.
And then if you could continue to talk about the Biden administration, do you want to talk about what's going on with President Biden's plan to help those with student loans?
Yeah, I don't think it's ever going anywhere. I think ultimately that was kind of a fig leaf he wanted to give to the left and to younger people about what he wanted to do. But the process of how they went about it made it to where it was doomed from the start and was never going to be something he was willing to spend political capital on. So he floats this idea out there, court knocks it down, and just kind of waves his hands. Hey, I tried to get it done, I didn't get it done. When in reality, when you really want to get something done, you have to spend the political capital. You have to use the bully pulpit that the presidential office provides you and get out there and hammer people about getting not only your bill passed, but whatever it is done. So like when we go back to the Biden agenda and you look at the child tax credit, which was a beautiful thing that worked really well in pulling a lot of children out of poverty, but they allowed it to lapse. And now we get into this fight with the Republicans about it. And it becomes this thing to where now that will become kind of a football every election cycle. So there's my difficulty with Biden. The right gets what they want from him, but the left gets ignored. And then they come back every election cycle and say, please come out and vote for us. The other side, you have to vote for us. The other side is going to tear up everything. So they don't fight hard enough for me.
And they are going to tear up everything because we're a two-party system. So what do you do?
Well, ultimately, if you really want to change things, you're going to have to become a more progressive country. You're going to have to move in the way that the rest of the world is moving. These old ideas and partisan tricks of saying, hey, we would have gotten it done, but the other side, you know, they were too much of a problem. FDR couldn't say that. FDR had to say, hey, man, we got to get these things done. And if you don't want to help me, I'm pushing you out of my coalition and I'm putting pressure on the other side. We haven't had a Dem that would fight from that standpoint in a long time. So that, you know, that kind of lies in my criticism of Biden, not to mention the situation in Israel and Gaza, where we basically have a genocide rolling over people, killing children by the day, and they're just standing by with mealy mouth pronouncements and not doing anything substantial.
I understand that, and I agree totally.
No, it's just totally wrong.
I had said 1,400, and I made a mistake saying 14,000. I said 1,400 Jews were killed in Israel, but there will be 14,000 Palestinians killed.
FOFA or FAFO.
So, but what my challenge was about Democrats getting things done, roads and bridges. That bill was passed. Who passed that? Democrats, Joe Biden. The lowering prescription drugs. Now, that was under
Where is
Biden.
that?
If it were Trump or any other Republicans, that would not have happened.
Why?
Agreed.
Like the child tax credit.
They want people to spend so much money. Like the Democrats care about people, or the Republicans. What kind of retarded insertion are you making here? The Democrats or the Republicans do not care. Nobody cares about what anybody pays. If they make you pay a little bit less for prescriptions, you're going to pay more for something else. Are we that feeble-minded that we think the government cares about us as citizens? They care about us as citizens. Really, Todd?
You gave Biden accolades when you were on the street about the same thing.
Yeah, me and cousin Ty were having a conversation. This nutter interrupted and started speaking in some strange language that I think he tried to use English, but it didn't come out that way.
Unknown tongue.
Indeed. So nobody said governments care about you or anybody said anything about feelings. Parties move based on what their coalitions put pressure on.
It's not the spontaneous Todd show.
So it's not the idea that when cousin Todd said this, that the Dems did these things because they love the people so much and want to help. No, pressure was put on them. That's what the orgs on the left and the Dem side do. These are the things we want. We're going to put pressure on them, get them done, and they get them done. But it's not because anybody likes anybody. That's a childish way to look at politics.
Nobody's gotten anything done for anybody. What are you even talking about?
He just told you
the separation between the rich and the poor. Anything that anybody pretends to do for the Republicans or the Democrats, they pretend to do is nothing but a band-aid.
Well, we weren't talking about pretend. We were talking about things that were actually done.
Oh, okay. Well, that's great. It really doesn't accomplish anything.
Well,
are prescription prices better? Are your prescription prices better because somebody said they're going to make them better?
No, because I'm not part of the demographic that needs them. But the demographic that needs them,
when you say no, when you agree with me, stop talking.
No.
When you say no, you've said it 3 times.
So
just say no.
For you. No, you
just say no.
So I'm gonna fix this for you.
Just say no.
You asked, would it affect me? I said no, because I don't get prescriptions. But the demographic that does, elderly people or people who have previous existing conditions who need those prescriptions and have to pay for them,
there will come a time when you need a prescription. Everybody has a prescription of something. Okay. You're going to break your leg or break your neck. You're going to get a prescription.
Maybe you should just sit down. Why don't you go?
No. He said no. He said no 100 times.
Yeah. So this is an adult table. You need to sit at the children's table. You're not ready.
Every time. And then say that closer to Thanksgiving. Yeah. Because you say it every week. Yeah, so you've said it close to Thanksgiving.
Juvenile conversation. Yes, Stacey, what's up?
Okay, let me move on. President Biden is speaking right now. I'm unable to get it to broadcast it live.
No, I'll do it for you, Stacey. He's going blah, 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 blah. That's what he just said. That's what our president said. The president you support has just said blah, 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 blah.
So in the
That's your
meantime,
president.
All right. Thank
Steve,
you. Thank
in the
you, Steve.
meantime,
That's
thank
the
you.
best
Keith,
you've done on the show so far.
Yes,
Keith,
it was almost
Keith,
perfect.
excuse me, Keith, if you look at this article from the Texas Tribune, Texas legislators approve a bill allowing police to arrest people who cross the border illegally. The Texas House voted to spend $1.5 billion on new state border walls, though that measure must be reconciled with the Senate version before it's sent to Governor Greg Abbott for consideration. This was written yesterday by Uriel Garcia. What do you think? How's this going to help that? How's this going to help Texas? And how does Texas have that much money?
Well, years ago, the Supreme Court, unfortunately, the Supreme Court ruled against the same thing happened in Arizona, where they were trying to enforce federal immigration law. And the Supreme Court said that that's the job of the federal government. So I don't know where this will go. I mean, if it gets challenged, they'll probably lose. And, they can't really enforce. They're going to consider that enforcing immigration law, which is the federal job. That's the job of the feds, which we already know they're not going to do. So, I mean, it's really a shame, but that's the way it came out in the Supreme Court years ago. I remember that 70, 80, I think it was Senate bill, and the governor of Arizona at the time, a woman, a conservative, a Republican, and they were trying to enforce immigration law. So now if Texas is going to decide to enforce immigration law instead of the federal government, well, we'll see where it goes. But again,
well,
it's,
Texas can build the barriers, right? They can build. They're going to spend $1.5 billion of their taxpayers' money, which Texas doesn't have payroll tax, so they're going to either use industry or sales or whatever they're going to get that money from to go and build more fortifications along the border. Hey,
well, that's not
Texas
the same thing as arresting people.
States' rights,
that's not
right?
the same thing as arresting people who are in the country illegally.
But
I would like
it's a holistic approach, right? So you're saying they're going to build $1.5 billion worth of border wall, and then they're going to try to reconcile this bill to be able to arrest people. But see, here's the thing: is the disconnect. It is a federal issue because what are you going to do with the people once you arrest them? Are you going to send them back to their own country, or you just drive them to the border? What's the process there? You're going to have to coordinate with the federal government, right? So if you want to send them back to their own country.
Let me get Stephen and Todd and Fontavious in here real quick before we go to President Biden. Stephen?
Governor Abbott needs to be impeached. He should have impeached a long time ago. A lot of these border state governors need to be impeached. They could have done a lot to impede what the process of the people coming into this country. They could have done a lot. They could have invoked the National Guard of their country. Abbott never did. He's a horrible governor. He's the reason we have so many people coming to our country. This is an invasion of our country, and every governor that was on the border state needed to stop this from happening. Like they were going to try to, but they stole an election. What was it? Arizona, New Hampshire, whatever. It doesn't matter. They're everywhere. They're in New York. They're everywhere, and everybody's upset. Even the Democrats upset because we have been invaded. This is the biggest thing in our country that's happening right now is we've been invaded, and there's a lot of people that don't care about it, think it's okay that we have an open border, but it's not. Our country has been invaded. This is
How does that affect you?
Okay,
come on,
wait a minute. How does it affect me, Stacey? How does it affect me? We are going to lose our country because what happened in how's it going to affect me is what happened in Israel is nothing compared to what happened is what's going to happen here. Now? What happened in 9/11 is nothing of what's going to happen here. Our enemies have been coming through our border for 3 years. All of our enemies from all the countries that hate us, that want us destroyed, that doesn't want America to be here anymore. They're here now, and they have reinforcements coming. And when they will strike? When they close the border. They will not strike until they close the border. You people have got to listen to me. We are done.
Thank you,
we are done as a country because y'all are so damn stupid that you don't understand you can't have open borders. We have open borders to destroy this country, and y'all are going to die.
Okay, thank
We're
you,
all on
Stephen.
the same boat. Keith and I are going to die, even though we knew better,
Thank you,
and we
Stephen.
know
Thank
better.
you, Stephen.
All of us are
Thank
going
you,
to die
Stephen.
because of y'all. Are so
It's
Okay,
8:30. This is
Aguna.
Steven's meltdown.
Do
Every
something.
Yeah, but
show at 8:30, he
you
does this.
started it, Aguna. It's your fault, Cousin Todd. It's Aguna's
They're coming
fault.
across the border and they're coming for your children. They're going to come and they're going to kill you. They're going to murder and they're going to do it to you. And people like you, Todd. There's people like you. People like you are going to. You did this to us. You, Todd.
Okay, now this is the thing. If you are European, white, living in America, you are the invader. The natives thought the same way you're thinking, Stephen.
He's ran off the show.
And they were wiped out because you invaders killed them. And now you're afraid somebody's going to come in and do the same to you. Fear not, dum-dum.
Okay, thank you. Fontavious?
Yeah, I thought "Fear Not, Dum Dum" was a nice touch, just for the record. But no, this is a con that people have been running for a long time. So in front of their low IQ supporters, they present this tough front of "we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that." It turns into like wrestling promos almost, where they talk about the things they're gonna do and how they're gonna be tougher on the people on the border than the other people are, and because they're tough on it, things are gonna happen. But ultimately, the donors who provide the money for these people to be in office where they are, like Abbott, are dependent on really cheap labor that's coming over here and working. And when we talk about harvest season, my God, you think about what these big agri companies would be without that labor over there doing the work for below what an average American can make a living off of. So when they play this con every year and these people fall for it, after a while, you just don't feel sorry for them anymore. Like if you're too dumb to figure out the banana in the tailpipe and you fall for it every election cycle, every year, and you're just constantly bombarded with this idea of barbarians coming over the gate, when in all reality, we're talking about low-wage workers trying to make a living and send money home to their families. But if you're willing to fall for it, I mean, hell, I guess they're just going to keep running that play on you.
And
Okay,
most
thank
of
you.
them work
President
for
Biden
Donald Trump.
The
and
thing is, what's
Trump-
the solution? You're going to try to
Thank
build this
you.
massive border wall. I mean, we've talked about comprehensive immigration reform around guest worker programs and things where you can actually get people who want to work to contribute to the economy. But that's a no-starter for a lot of people even on this show. You don't even want to talk about it because you're still entrenched in this ideology of invasion and all of this. Hey, you know what? These people are coming over here to work, right? So, people coming low, like Nas was saying, low-paying jobs. If you give them not a path to citizenship, a path to work, we're talking about, massive low unemployment. You can get folks who want to be here to work. We're not talking about these so-called terrorists, which I don't think there's been any associated terrorist attack associated with crossing from the southern border. You can't quote me on that, but nobody's come across the southern border and done a terrorist attack on the United States.
Well, the logistics of it are just stupid. Why would you spend resources to smuggle somebody over the border who could possibly be caught and then have to get weapons to them and everything else a cell would need, as opposed to doing what they actually do, which is hacking, which is internet attacks, attacking like your gas line,
come here on a visa, things like that. Visa.
Complicated things.
They're going to do all that. You're right. They're going to do all that. They're going to do everything. They're going to do everything. They're going to do it electronically, but they need bodies here. They're going to do it electronically, but to take over, they're going to do it. They're going to do it electronically. They're going to take over.
Go back off the show, man. Go get out of here. Go back off the show. Okay. We were enjoying the show for a minute.
Go to hell. Go to hell. Where are you going?
Excuse me.
Make me want to puke.
President Biden is talking. President Biden is talking, please.
Burning women and children alive. And so the idea that they're going to just stop and not do anything is not realistic. This is not the carpet bombing. This is a different thing. They're going through these tunnels. They're going into the hospital. And if you notice, I was mildly preoccupied today. I apologize. I didn't see everything. But what I did see, whether I haven't had it confirmed yet, I am asked my team to answer the question. But what happened is they're
All right, we're having some
also
sort of
bringing in
technical.
Now,
incubators.
anybody
They're
with
bringing
sense
in
would
other-
stop right there. I haven't
other
had it confirmed yet.
means to help the people in the hospital. And they've given the doctors, and I'm told, the doctors and nurses and the personnel an opportunity to get out of harm's way. So this is a different story than I believe what was occurring before with indiscriminate bombing.
Okay, I'm going to stop there. He's taking questions. But I'm going to stop there. He's talking about Israel, Hamas. He didn't talk about his meeting today with President Xi from China in San Francisco. But what were you going to say, Fontavious?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is how we got into this in the first place. Like the idea of constantly puts out propaganda, everybody debunks it, then they have to walk it back. He came out the first day and talked about the babies and all that other stuff. And then when the story gets debunked, then he has to send the aid out there. Poor sister Pierre, she has to go out there and basically walk the statement back. And then, they do a press release and then keep it moving. So tonight he starts off, he said, well, I haven't had this confirmed yet. Stop right there. Don't say it. All you're going to do is create another fiasco for yourself. And of course, I mean, they're happy to keep playing you like a fiddle. If you're going to allow yourself to be, again, even old Ronald Reagan told them one day after the bombing, look, man, stop. Picked up that phone, told them stop. And they stopped. Why? Because they are dependent on the aid that they get every year, no matter what, to function as a country. That country, their citizens have free health care. That country, their citizens have a subsidy for housing and gas and all types of other things that is paid for by everybody on this line.
Okay, thank you. We're going to start our roundtable. We're out of time. I'm going to start with Keith, then Stephen, then Fontavious, then Aguna, then Cousin Todd. I have one question for you for the roundtable, and then you can make a quick comment of your choosing. Let me share my screen. Under breaking news, President Biden's most constructive and productive meeting with President Xi of China. And they have agreed, the leaders have agreed, if you can see that, to resume high-level military communication between the U.S. and China. I'm going to start with Keith. I just want you to answer it real quick, then I'll come back to you. Then Stephen, then Fontavious, then Aguna, then Cousin Todd. What does that mean, and how will that help us, Keith?
During the summit, you mean what does that mean? Him coming here? Is that the summit?
No, it says during their summit, the leaders agreed to resume see the screen?
Yeah.
The leaders agreed to resume high-level military communication between the U.S. and China. How does it help the United States?
I don't even know if that's even true. I don't even believe that's true that they do. But anyway.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to go on to Stephen, and then I'll come back to you. Stephen.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Nixon administration when they went to China, before China was what China was, but they were trying to get something just straight with them. If there's something that this administration can do, if they can get something going really well with China, and they should be able to, because they got so many dealings underneath the table with China right now, that maybe they can get something done that will work for everybody and be something that could be miraculous and helpful for everybody right now. It would be good for them. It would be good for us.
Okay.
It would be good for other nations. Maybe something like that could happen. Maybe if they could do that, then this could look very well for the 2024. Who knows?
Thank you. Fontavious?
Yeah, this is a great turn from a year or so ago where we had Nancy Pelosi going to Taiwan, the saber rattling, the constantly pushing aggression and tension. Like, this is a much more beneficial, fruitful idea to just have some type of correspondence, and this idea that we don't have to do Cold War Part 2. They're a superpower. We're a superpower. That's already established. That's not going back in the. That's not going back in the toothpaste is not going back in the tube. So we're just going to have to, at a certain point, you know, you're going to have to be diplomatic about things. And that's a much more realistic way of handling things for the two countries who are basically almost feeding and clothing the entire world. When you consider how much of the supply chain globally these two countries affect and economies these two countries affect. So it's a much better term.
Yeah, like we get like 90% of our prescriptions there, you know, our medicines. I mean, that's a lot. I'm sorry, Goon. I didn't even mean to step on you, but we get so much from China right now.
And Trump makes his ties there too. So China's economy is not as robust or doing as well as the U.S. economy. They need foreign investment. They have high unemployment, especially around with young people. So they need us more than you would think, right? They want foreign investment. They need foreign investment. And right now, based on relations and how things were previously, people are afraid to invest in China. And that's what China needs in its economy. There's a housing crisis. There's a lot of things going on in China. And now we're not even going to get into the whole COVID aftermath type things, which, you know, people have said there was a thinning of the herd, if you would, of the Chinese population because of things such as unemployment, things like that. So they need to have some correspondence. I think this is a step in the right direction, considering where U.S.-China relations were in the past. Again, it's just you're talking. We're not talking about any major trade agreements. We're not talking about any arms deals. We're not talking about any of that. It's just, hey, let's agree to play nicely and at least talk to each other going forward. And that's what they're doing.
Okay.
Yeah, but to deal with China really quick, do we have to become China? Do we have to follow everything they want us to follow and the way they treat their people? Is that? But
I mean, that's not even on the table. That's not even.
It is. That's what we're looking at right now. That it is on the table. That we could treat
that.
Okay, excuse me. We're going to stop there.
Let's be nice to each other.
ESG.
This is your round table. You have about 20 seconds to say whatever you choose.
You're talking to me now?
Yes, T.
Okay. Well, I'll just say that, I can't say everything I want to say in 20 seconds, but I'll say this, that, why does China, I just have two questions. Why did China build a Great Wall? And number two, why does DC erect fences around the White House? And why is San Francisco, when Xi came through San Francisco, why were there all Chinese flags and no American flags in sight in San Francisco, California?
The Great Wall of China.
Okay, thank you.
San Francisco is a subsidiary. San Francisco is a subsidiary of China now. Of course, California is.
What does that even mean?
It's like everybody knows that they're communists there now. Everybody knows that this is communist China. That's what they wanted to do.
Okay,
they wanted to have the same.
I do like Chinatown in San Francisco. You can get some really good dumplings.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Oh, I love Chinatown too. I love Chinese people. I just don't love their government. I don't love the CCP. And this is what we're going up against. And this is what we're kind of trying to cozy up to right now. We need to be careful as a nation. We have to be careful as a nation who we want to cozy up to. Maybe we can do things differently. Maybe we don't have to be hand in hand with a country that has been.
Look at the label on your shirt. Where was it made?
Oh, I'm sure.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sure, but
Fontavious.
We don't need them.
Fontavious.
But you're wearing a shirt made there.
Fontavious.
Yeah, just quickly, this is not a colonial relationship where you sit down with preconditions and tell the country all the things they do bad and how if they do certain things, then you're willing to have a conversation. No, this is more of a conversation of equals. So we don't get to walk in the room and do that. Henry Kissinger, wait 45 minutes and make them sit there until we can start speaking. That's not the relationship we're talking about here. This is more a relationship of equals. And yes, they've gone through some turmoil, but guess what, guys? So have we. So yeah, things are going to be difficult, but the best way to handle this would be, again, diplomatic relations, staying peaceful, not Cold War action.
Thank you. Who did I not get?
Keith?
No, we heard from Keith. We didn't hear from Cousin Todd.
I thought we didn't hear from Aguna.
So the round table. Oh my gosh! Look, if this past election cycle has taught us anything, it's like these whole culture war things need to stop. I think the GOP who currently doesn't have a platform, need to get back to basics. First, you need to move away from Trump. I mean, all this courtroom stuff, whether you believe it's true or whatever, it's too much of a distraction of the real issues. If we can get back to talking about small government, low tax. Again, Trump isn't necessarily saying that. Trump is talking about a populist view of conservatism, which isn't really conservatism, because you're talking about a massive expansion of government, a massive expansion of a regulation when it comes to what people are doing. And it's just not what the core values of the GOP were traditionally. So just be careful what you ask for. And I think it's a lot of distraction. I think the candidates that are the candidate pool that is dwindling down now in the primary, the DeSantis of the world. I mean, you don't have a lot of options, but you definitely don't want to necessarily have a candidate who is going to be convicted of anything, especially with all these court cases going on. So
it's all a bunch. But all the court cases are a bunch of crap. You know it's a bunch of crap.
Fight the urge.
But it's a bunch of crap. I mean, man to man, you know it's a bunch of crap, right? I know you. We're all intelligent people here. We're all intelligent people. You know it. All these court cases are garbage. You know it.
You just can't help yourself. Regulate your.
No, I mean, you can answer me or not. Don't you think it's garbage? Don't you think all these cases are garbage?
Can we get to Cousin Todd?
Talking to Cousin Todd's roundtable.
All right, Todd, please.
Okay, I didn't hear the question for the roundtable.
It's free. You're free. You can say anything you
want.
Oh,
good.
You can even show us how to tie a scarf.
Yeah, start from the beginning.
Let me just say this thing about the border crossings. You hear people like Keith and Stephen say, they're bringing drugs into our country and they're invaders. And I already told you.
Yeah, you forgot the growl.
And I already told you that white people are the invaders. And as for bringing drugs into our country, the CIA already did that for Black people. So we don't have to worry about the Mexicans bringing drugs in. How do you when you think about it, the CIA apologized for putting drugs in Black areas. What do you think about that? No, this is not for you, anybody on the show.
When did they apologize?
Never mind.
They didn't apologize. They never admitted they did it.
You'll have to look that up on the
dark. No, you might be right. I'm not always right.
Google it.
So
I got a question for you. I got a question for listen, how can you believe that white people...
Can he finish his term before we hear from your teeth?
How can you believe that white people are the invaders when you believe in borders being open? So that means that borders should never be closed, even for white people.
Your inability to have logic and reason is amazing.
No, that's a good one, Keith. That was a good one, Keith.
That's a good one. It's a good one.
That was a good one, Keith.
You're almost.
I've never heard that perspective before, Keith. That was a good one, man.
You blew Stephen's mind with that.
No, Keith, did you make that up? If you made that up, man, you've gone to like superheroes.
Come on into white folks heaven because you need somebody
married.
Okay. Keith, you're faster than a speeding bullet.
Married man.
And they won't be able to answer. Stephen. They won't. I guarantee you. They won't answer. That's why they resort to insults.
Okay.
No, I'm not insulted. I'm flattered that they think about my naked.
Thank you. We're out of time. To our first responders in our communities, you make our lives livable. Thank you, thank you, thank you. To the women and men of the U.S. military for all that you do and sacrificing your lives so that we are free to say whatever we choose on this show. We are forever indebted. On behalf of Aguna, the Nigerian moderate Republican.
Go Eagles.
Keith, the constitutional conservative.
Great Wall of China. And it just...
Stephen, the independent thinker.
With the mullet.
Fontavious, thank you so much for joining us, Fontavious. And my cousin Todd, who stays warm.
And
who stays warm no matter what the temperature is outside.
I think
Todd's a Kit Kat.
I think the Dodgers are going to beat the Eagles.
Happy Thanksgiving. We will not be on next week, as we, like you, will be celebrating and being thankful for all of
Some of
the
us will be
blessings that the
celebrating.
Lord
That's a
has
white man's
given us.
religion. That's a white man's
You
holiday.
think Thanksgiving is a religion? Yeah, that explains a
Yeah,
lot.
that's right. That's why you don't celebrate.
And
God bless us,
I
everyone.
forgot. Check us out if you want to see previous episodes. Since we're not on next week, check us out on Twitch, X, Instagram, TikTok,
Flow.
YouTube at
But hey,
Sporlitiks.
we're gonna ban TikTok because it's Chinese.
And Stephanie
It's
Stallworth
a Chinese
with
company.
Flow Television
They're all
Network.
Chinese companies.
No TikTok.
They're all Chinese companies. Don't discriminate.
Happy Thanksgiving to each one of you and your families. Thank you for joining us. Does anybody want to say what they're thankful for?
I'm thankful
thankful
for
for
America
this
and the
country is
Constitution.
Yes.
Great.
For the
I'm
Bible.
thankful for that. And I'm very
thankful for
thankful
the Bible,
for that.
and that I
God
actually
bless
read
this
it and
country.
don't listen to Keith's
And
interpretation
then we're all
of it.
here.
I'm thankful
And these
for
guys can criticize it.
Stephen
In fact,
Stephen
they can
Care.
criticize
I'm
it.
thankful. I'm
I'm
thankful for everything.
Cashmere
I'm thankful.
scarf.
I'm thankful. I'm
That's how
thankful
the
for
other half
everything.
lives.
I'm thankful for everything that is beautiful, and that includes all of y'all. And I hope y'all have a great Thanksgiving.
Stephen is thankful for.
I hope you have a
Captain
terrible
D's
one.
clock
I'm
on
thankful that
Gilligan's
God
Island.
did not put too many teeth in my mouth or sunburn my face.
Wow.
That's messed up, man.
No, that's cool. No, he fancies himself. Wait a minute, he fancies himself a comedian. That's cool. You fancy yourself a comedian. I do too.
Great comeback.
And you
Great
know what? We
comeback.
can have a whole show with you and I going back and forth, because I fancy myself a comedian too. We'll have fun with this.
Good
But you know
comeback,
what you
brother.
need to do? You need to show your face.
No,
Stephen.
It took you that long to come up with that?
Yeah, you need to show your face. Huh?
Remember that argument, Stephen, about
you can't bring
the immigration. And remember that about white people. They always say white people are the ones who broke into the country, but they don't believe in walls. They don't believe in borders.
So you're talking about Todd.
As defender
You're
of the
talking
white
about
man,
the
Todd
Lord gave that
Aguna.
to
Right.
You're talking about Todd Aguna and
the white
Fontavious.
man.
Yeah.
How should we interpret that?
Remember that,
You're
Stephen?
the white man whisperer.
I'm talking to Stephen because you guys don't understand.
Of course you are.
So, Stephen, remember that. Remember that.
I will never
I'm sure
forget
he doesn't
that.
even know to write it down.
And remember the Alamo. Remember the Alamo.
He doesn't know what
They
you're
don't
talking
believe
about.
in
He's just gonna
borders.
agree
They
with
don't
you.
believe in walls. So the white man and every other man can come into this
Keith,
country.
as a steward of
Settle
history.
down.
Yeah, you know what?
Keith, as a steward of history, what
The-
wall has worked? What
That
wall
means
in the
that
history of man has
terrorists
worked?
and everybody else, anybody can come.
What
on.
wall has
Their
worked? Answer the
bigotry is
question,
on
Keith.
display.
Can
It's
you
really
name a wall
sad.
that has worked?
They are
Come
the
on in,
racists. They are the bigots. They are
You're not
everything.
answering the
Everything the
question.
left says is what
Keith,
they are, and they
What
accuse the right
wall
of being.
has worked?
They
What
are the
wall
bigots.
has
They are
worked?
the racists. They are the
That's right.
haters. They
That's
are the
right.
ones who do the
Has
violence. They are the violent
Can
people.
you
The ones on
Yeah.
the
name a
left.
wall? I'm
They
not
are the
listening to
haters.
Steve-
You know what? The
Stephen
ones on the
Stephen
right,
talking.
the ones on the right want babies to
Keith,
live. The ones on the left
What
want to rip
wall
babies out
in
of
the
their
history
mothers.
of mankind has worked?
You know
What
who's
wall has
violent?
worked?
Who's violent? The left is
thank
violent.
God.
What wall
The
has
left
God,
wants
worked?
to
there's
rip
one wall.
babies out of their mothers.
Are they going to have
The
an
right-
exchange,
the
or are
right's
you just
not
going to
violent.
keep repeating yourself?
He's just talking.
I don't know.
Stephen's talking.
I don't know.
Yeah, this is
Keith,
crazy.
But I
To
do
your
want to
point-
say we'll be back on the air November 29th, the week after Thanksgiving.
Can Keith answer my
Happy
question?
Thanksgiving.
I will.
He
Answer
doesn't
the
have
question.
the ability
Then.
to.
What
I
wall in the
will.
history
As
of
soon
man
as I
has
get a
worked?
chance. I'll tell you, there's one wall that no one will be able to breach. The pearly gates of heaven. Hallelujah. There you go.
That hallelujah didn't
And you
even
actually
sound
think that makes
authentic.
sense.
Have you
Yeah.
ever actually spent time in a Baptist church? That didn't sound too authentic.
He didn't
man.
ever say he was
I spent a
Baptist.
lot
He
of
didn't say he was
time around
Baptist.
churches.
Nobody will breach those
No,
walls.
he's a
I don't know
Christian.
about
He's not a
this guy.
Baptist.
So
I'm a
you're avoiding
Baptist.
the
You know that?
answer. Just
No
say you
one
don't
will
know.
breach those
Just say you
walls.
He
don't
doesn't know a
Even
Christian and a
Stacy like
Baptist
that.
are the same.
No, they're not.
He's
Stacy
not
like
a
that.
Christian.
A Christian and a
He's a
Baptist ain't the
Baptist.
same.
Even Stacy like that.
You can be a Christian but not a Baptist.
Keith, I need you to
No
do
one.
some I need you to.
No one
go
will
back
breach
and
those
rethink
gates.
that statement then.
No
Because
one
you're
will
talking
breach
about
those
walls,
gates
but you can't
who
tell
has
me a
not
wall that has worked.
been who has not been duly
Oh,
invited.
everybody do the Todd. Everybody do the Todd.
You ain't lying, man. This dude could not answer the question and took it all the way to the pearly
He's still
gate.
deflecting because he just says
Oh,
stuff.
look at Todd.
Keith just says
Y'all
things.
missed what Todd
The
just
Great
did.
Wall of China, did it work?
Well, did it?
No, the Mongols continued to invade China.
Right, it didn't work. Remember the
Well, my question was, why
Israeli
did it
wall,
build
the
it?
Gaza in Gaza? Did the wall in Gaza work?
Well, why don't they tear it down?
Why don't they tear what down? The Great Wall of China?
The Great Wall, yeah.
Because it's a
It's in
historic
ruins.
site now. It's a tourist attraction.
It's just like the Eiffel Tower and the Empire State Building.
And
It's
what
a
about the
tourist trap.
fences around the White House? What about the fences?
So let's just be clear. You're trying to compare the Great Wall of China to a fence around an office building.
This is a sick man. This is a sick
This
man.
has been the best show so far.
So,
Yeah.
so and you
Hey,
think
good
that
night.
What is
Shows
the
you have
purpose
no
of a
taste.
fence? What is
It's
the
almost
purpose
9
of a
o'clock. Good
fence
night,
or a
Kit
wall?
Kat.
Whew, man.
you still haven't made a point.
What is the purpose of a fence around
I
your
haven't heard a
property?
word they said. Have y'all heard
Who do
anything
you
they've
try to
said?
keep out?
I asked you a simple question. Has any
Who do you
wall
try to
on a
keep
border worked? And your
Who do you
answer
try to
is
keep out?
no.
I got to make some sweet
No
potatoes.
wall
We're
has
having a
ever worked.
Thanksgiving party tomorrow at work.
Fortifications don't
So I got to
work.
make some
Oh,
sweet
nice.
potatoes.
Did the
I know
National
one
Oh,
thing.
good.
If the
Did the
potluck
National
butter,
included something
cinnamon,
Steven brought,
Patriots
I
wall
wouldn't
work?
eat my ain't no way. You eat
Yeah,
something in a
olive
potluck from
oil,
Steven?
butter, cinnamon.
Olive oil.
Oh my God,
Olive
these
oil and
no,
sweet
you would die for my sweet potatoes.
Nah,
Now,
man.
Aguna is the connoisseur of yams. So is that right, Aguna, what he said?
About what? About yams working for what? Cocoa butter?
No, you got butter, you got olive oil, you got
They say you're gonna put butter, olive
cinnamon. You
oil, and
put
sweet potato.
cinnamon. You cook them with cinnamon. You cook it all together at different points.
No, man, you don't put that. See, this is no.
You don't put cinnamon.
Two Americas.
Just stick to
Two
making
Americas.
ambrosia. Stick to making ambrosia.
Make
Okay.
some pumpkin pie.
Stay
man.
away stay away from yams and stay away from
Goodbye.
and stick to having mashed potatoes at
Ambrosia.
Thanksgiving.
Good
Make a
night.
green bean
Happy
casserole.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Good
No,
night.
I don't like green beans.